Amidst China's growing aggression in the South and the East China Seas, Japanese Prime Minister Yoshihide Suga is planning to visit India and the Philippines later this month to push for a free and an open Indo-Pacific region. The Prime Minister Suga has been working to deepen ties with the United States, Australia, India and other like-minded nations amidst the ongoing international concern over China. His trip to India will of course come right after he travels to Washington, D.C. to meet with President Joe Biden in a move that is widely being seen as an attempt to stiffen those nations' resolve to resist the growing Chinese aggression in the Indo-Pacific region. The exact dates of the trip are yet to be determined because of the pandemic situation across the world. The Prime Minister Narendra Modi and Yoshihide Suga have spoken several times over the phone amidst the pandemic and have also participated in the first virtual summit of the Quad earlier in the month of March along with US President Joe Biden and the Australian Prime Minister Scott Morrison. Japan, which has stressed the importance of the Quad framework, together with the United States, Australia and India, will be aiming to solidify that framework with India during this visit. All right, now to give us more perspective, we are joined in by WION's Siddhant Sibil, who is joining us live on this broadcast on WION. Good morning to you, Siddhant. This of course, is a very significant visit by the Japanese Prime Minister that has been planned in some time from now. Bring us up to speed about this growing partnership between India and Japan in a bid to counter China.
Well, as of now, the officials from both sides, the Indian side and the Japanese sides, are mum over the visit. In fact, there is no confirmation regarding the visit. Also, we know that last year when the Japanese Prime Minister took charge, there were similar reports saying that he might come to India and there was no visit. So this time, of course, there is the pandemic crisis as well. So it is also contingent on the pandemic issue as well. But if you look at the visit of the Japanese Prime Minister, India and Japan has a mechanism, the annual bilateral summit mechanism. India has the summit mechanism with only two countries, one is Russia and one is Japan. But the issue which has come in last 2 years is that the first time when the summit was to happen in the Indian state of Assam, it could not happen because of the CEA protest. And then when again this meeting was being planned, then the COVID pandemic hit the entire world, and again now this is being planned. So by and large, there have been high-level engagement between India and Japan. Both sides have been engaging on a number of multilateral forums. As you pointed out, Quad is one such forum, but also Japanese investors have been investing in India in infrastructure development. The bullet train between Ahmedabad and Mumbai is something that is always reported, always talked about whenever India-Japan relationship has been talked about. But nonetheless, we know that when it comes to security issue, both sides have been engaging at every level. In fact, even as we speak, the French-led Quad plus naval exercises are taking place in the Bay of Bengal, and these exercises involve the Indian forces and the Japanese forces as well. But it is the Chinese worry that is the big elephant in the room. We know that China has been acting aggressively not only with India but with the Japanese as well, whether it is Galwan Valley with India or whether it's the Senkaku Island with Japan. Japan, in fact, has strongly protested over the Chinese claim over the Senkaku Island, and this is something that normally does come during conversation between the Indian side and the Japanese side. The Japanese side have been telling the Indian side the problem or what the Chinese have been doing to them for many decades, and the Indian side has also been sharing its concern. There is, of course, focus also on climate change, on technology transfer, so several host of issues. But this is a relationship which is a celebrated one. We know that the Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi, after taking charge in 2014, his first foreign visit outside of South Asia was to Japan. He visited Bhutan, and then his visit was to Japan. The relationship between the former Prime Minister of Japan, Shinzo Abe, and Indian Prime Minister is another such relationship which has been talked about. We know, and we in fact still remember the visuals of the Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe visiting the Indian state of Gujarat, visiting Varanasi. These are visuals perhaps that form the symbol of this relationship, which has partnership from security to climate change to every domain possible.
Absolutely, indeed. That's an interesting point that you brought up. The personal rapport which the Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi, of course, shared with the former Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe. Can we expect a similar kind of rapport being shared between the Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi and the incumbent Prime Minister Yoshihide Suga, when he's expected to arrive sometime maybe at the end of this month or next month perhaps?
Well, if you look at the natural camaraderie between leaders of democratic countries, it is natural that these leaders will be on the same platform. In fact, we know that when a similar kind of transformation happened in Washington from Trump administration to Joe Biden administration, there was speculation that maybe Joe Biden might not be very close to the present Indian Prime Minister, but that was indeed reverse. He went full speed ahead with relationship with India, has sent two top ministers to India. One, of course, is John Kerry. Today is his last visit. Before that, we know the US Defense Secretary had visited India. And then, of course, is the US President who took Quad to the next level, to the leadership level. And similar things are expected with the Japanese as well. Of course, the Japanese are a little hesitant by nature, but that doesn't mean that there will be no camaraderie. We do expect when the first physical meet happens, whenever it happens, even if the visit does not happen, there is the second charge of the Quad physical meeting that will take place in United Kingdom on the sidelines of the G7 summit, where the Japanese Prime Minister will be present, the Indian Prime Minister will be present. So that can be another occasion where the physical meet can happen between the two leaders. But even despite the physical meeting, both leaders have been engaging with each other. There have been a number of telephonic calls. And of course, it's the bureaucracy that has brought the two countries together in terms of continuous engagement. Of course, the Japanese have opened a special category of visas for Indians, skilled Indians who can go to Japan, and these Indians can work for a specific period of time. And of course, Japan, of course, technologically is far more superior country globally, and this country can provide India a lot of things. India can provide them a lot of human resources. Also remember that Japan is an aging society. It is a society which has the most number of aged people, so they need young people, and India can provide them.
Absolutely, indeed. Thank you very much indeed, Siddhant Sibil, for joining us and getting us all those updates then. WION is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news on the move.